Hello and welcome to Geeks Assembled, and today we are discussing a TV adaptation of a classic murder mystery by Agatha Christie. It's the 1985 version of A Pocketful of Rye, starring the late great Joan Hickson. So there's only a little group of us today, but we'll do our best to entertain you. So without further ado, I will go over to Alex and Susan and see what their opening thoughts of this two-part story.
Yes, I originally saw this on PBS, and of course, this was in the mid '80s before another member, the villain in the piece, was Doctor Who and Tristan as well. And I showed it to a lot of people, and these are people that are not BBC fans, they're not ITV network fans, and they actually enjoyed most of the story and most of the actors. When we watched it again, I noticed how earnest people were in delivering their lines, but they didn't do it over the top, OTT. Except maybe toward the end with Peter Davidson when he finally revealed he was the villain. And the other nice thing is that he got his comeuppance, which is what most people watch cop shows and read mysteries and read cozies, even though that's not Agatha Christie really, but it's close. I mean, one of the benefits of Miss Marple is not only that you kind of underestimate her because of her age and the way she looks, but the fact that one of the lessons of life and one of the lessons of Agatha Christie is human nature doesn't really change that much. I mean, you could have newfangled technology or new clothes, but I mean, human nature doesn't change that much. And even I found it to be true that, if somebody reminds you of something, there's usually a reason why. But going back to the story, it's a very good story. It's very well performed. I only met a few people that criticized the series. I thought it was very good, at least 90%, if not 95. I don't know about the new version that was made, what, in New Zealand or Australia. But it's a little too modern for modern's sake, and I'm getting a little tired of the BBC and other networks saying, "Oh, we have to be shocking, we have to be gross, we have to change genders just to be shocking." And I'd rather watch a good story or a good story well performed than to be shocking. Sometimes I'll do that, like with other series, Cracker and other things, but we're talking about a classic story, classic foundation, and it doesn't have to be shocking just to entertain the viewer.
Thanks. I really enjoyed the story. I love that they took the children's nursery rhyme uh, that was based from the plague times. You know, ring around a rosy, a pocket full of posies. No, sorry.
And it was pocket full of rye, wasn't it? 4 and 20 blackbirds baked in a pie.
Yeah, that one.
That one, it's easily done getting the nursery rhymes mixed up.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know when that one was from, but anyway, they used that nursery rhyme quite well. They talked about this killer baking blackbirds in a pie, killing a whole bunch of blackbirds, stuffing rye in people's pockets, and then the singing. And as she's riding her bike by the church, they're singing the song based on this nursery rhyme, and it was like an inspiration to her or something. I don't know. Miss Marple's amazing, and she just has you thinking, like, that if you're a good just detective inspector, or good detective, or constable even, you're gonna have some ability to solve a crime, but no, Miss Marple's going to solve it for you. She'll have it out, and and no matter what you think you've got, she's got the real story. And that's a little endearing because she's a little old biddy and she just knows everything, and that's a little intimidating for many coppers, as it were. So, and I too noticed the Peter Davison playing a baddie. He's amazing as a baddie. I can't believe it. I mean, he plays such nice characters, Campion and the Doctor, and he plays Tristan. And I mean, these are nice guys. Tristan likes pigs, and Campion is really nice to everyone, including his burly but and Peter is just like he's darn scary as a baddie. I was like, oh, so no wonder they
It,
hired him for that probe show or whatever it was.
did But there's a question for you. I mean, I know Alex had seen it before, but was this the first time you'd seen this one, Susan, or had you seen it before?
I don't know if I'd seen it before, but it was the first time I'd actually paid attention to it.
It did come as a surprise to you then when it turned out it was him in the end.
Oh yeah.
Good, yeah, good. That's good acting then, I suppose, and
Oh yeah.
a good mystery. I mean, this was a year after he'd left Doctor Who. This was 1985.
Yeah.
So this must possibly be his first job after leaving Doctor Who.
Oh yeah. So he took his niceness and his quirkiness and his brilliance and turned it for evil. He turned into the master instantly. No. Okay, here you go, Alex.
No, I mean he also played in the British version of Law and Order, even though he's basically a good guy. But that was many years later.
Yeah.
No, but he was also in At Home with the Braithwaites, where that was kind of a dark, nasty comedy about a maladjusted family, and then they got rich, but then it was investigated that the kid had bought the lottery ticket when they're not supposed to do that, and things like that. So I mean, he did play another detective. Actually, it was called The Last Detective, and he was basically nice but bitter. He was kind of a little downtrodden. No, he was downtrodden, but almost everybody around him was kind of nasty. So in the years after Doctor Who, in the years after Doctor Who, he played not so many nice characters.
No, he did play that one. He did play that one with John Pertwee and
Yeah, no, I know, but you said probe.
Yeah, so he played that baddie and
Well,
I mean,
let's be honest. It's a TV show, and they're actors, and they want to play.
Yeah. But also as well, actors do love to play the villains because the villains always get the juicier parts.
Right, they get more scenery to chew.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So So what? He's been acting since what? 70? Because he was in the Tomorrow People as well, in a very yeah. Where he was
I've got that on DVD.
Right, he was a bad guy, but then the funny thing is, in that show that's supposed to be for kids, like Doctor Who, in the Tomorrow People episode, he turned into a cop and he's walking around Earth as a cop. Whereas the first, 30 minutes you see him in the show, he's an alien cowboy, and he's very, he's got an afro and very, very strange. So, I mean, just like with Doctor Who, just like with the BBC, part of the reason why I like it, not just the accent, but the fact that most of these actors, men and women, they grow and they get very strong in terms of acting, and they can play many different roles, and good and bad and shades between.
I mean, I know you mentioned The Last Detective, what you appeared in, but I mean, that was a remake of I think it was a 1970s TV show, which Bernard Cribbins played the lead in that. There's a Doctor Who trivia fact there for you. but going back to the Miss Marple, what we're here to talk about, it's wonderfully done. I mean, I always see Miss Marple as the female version of Columbo, because it's you. Those Columbo and Miss Marple, people always seem to think they can get the better of them two. They're always in the background, but they're always sat them figuring it out in their own heads, and then it's just last minute. Columbo, Miss Marple, always comes up with the final solution and tricks the villain into owning up to it and all that. But Joan Hickson as Miss Marple, the ideal actress to play this part. I mean, there's been many who've played her before and after, but for me, Miss Marple. As far as I know, Agatha Christie did say to her back in the 1960s when Joan Hickson appeared in a Margaret Rutherford Miss Marple movie, I'd love to play, in the future, I'd love you to play Miss Marple. And she did. She did in the end. And she read all 12 of the Miss Marple novels, because she only wrote 12 novels for Miss Marple.
Right. Well, I mean, Lee, wasn't there short stories as well?
There was a short story one as well, but there was 12 novels. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a Miss Marple fan. I'm more of a Hercule Poirot. I lean that way to Hercule Poirot's side. But it's done so well. The settings, set in the 1950s, I think it is. Yeah. It's so British. Yeah. If you want a good murder mystery, always come to Britain.
Yeah. No, but I remember too. I know they showed it over here in America under PBS Mystery, which was and Masterpiece Theater that had broken off. It sort of spun off. You had Alistair Cook, then you had Vincent Price, and then Diana Rigg. And of course, they're all somewhat connected, not only from that show, but in the types of roles that they played. But what I was going to say was, Joan Hickson even did that version Nemesis, where somebody actually had, and this was before TV. This was before, Charlie's Angels in Vegas and all these other type of shows where they set up a plot of one or two people out to get revenge on Columbo or out to get revenge on whoever, whatever character you want to say. There was two stories, one for Miss Marple and one for Poirot. The one for Miss Marple was Nemesis, and they actually filmed that and showed that up here in Massachusetts, which it was produced, Mystery and all that, partially produced in Boston, which was Miss Marple actually got a chance to confront two women that were out to get her, that were out to, try to destroy her. And it's so much fun to see her do it so serious and so deadpan and matter of fact, and she won, of course. So
Miss Marple always wins,
right? So that's where you get the comeuppance from. But the way she did it, I mean, it was so professional. It wasn't, get in your face or swear at you or confront you or yell. It was a confrontation, but it was very dignified. And I think they forget that you don't have to be, swearing and cussing and carrying on to confront somebody. You can do it in a very civilized way, And it was very civilized. It was, you were scared, but it was very civilized. There was no, there barely was even a gun. There wasn't, it was very, compared to today where it's very loud and nasty and vicious and loud. It was very, 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 very civilized. How they did. I mean, now getting back to the, go ahead, Lee, I'm sorry.
No, you carry on. You carry on. Oh, okay. Well, what I was saying is every Agatha Christie murder mystery, but this one, Pocketful of Rye, every character in this story could have done it. They're all under suspicion, and that's so well done in these Christie novels. It gets thinking right to the end. The way poor Gladys, played by Annette Badland, the maid, was in the garden hanging out the clothes, and down Blackbear pecked off her nose. The way that I mean, that was so good. The Queen was in the parlour eating bread and honey, but it's just the way it's written. I mean, I don't think Agatha Christie has been bettered by any murder mystery writer, to be honest. I mean, she's been dead nearly 40 odd years now, but they still make films, they still make TV shows from her books. She's got one hell of a following around the world, and so has characters Miss Marple and Hercule Poirot.
I'm sorry, Lee. Wasn't there also a couple other sort of minor characters like Harley Quinn, and I think there was another character that she created that I can't remember right now.
There was the two detectives, Tuppence and
Partners in Crime.
Partners in Crime, yeah.
So you had
you've just reminded me, Harley Quinn as well, yeah.
And Harley Quinn. But the other thing too is, I mean, it's amazing to read her history. She was a nurse. She studied poisons. That helped her with murder mysteries. And then even some people were able to remember from the books poisons that she mentioned that they were able to cure.
But also she went on archaeological digs with her husband.
Right, exactly.
So that's where you get all these archaeological digs in some of her novels. Right. She's wrote from experience. Well, apart from the murders, of course.
And that's, Well, I mean, no, but she wrote from experience in terms of poisons, in terms of settings. I mean, it's so funny. You read the books, not only do you learn English, but you also learn human nature. You learn, because almost all of her characters are very realistic. There's very few people that I've ever met that go, oh, that character was rubbish, or that character is totally unrealistic, or anything. So she's still very much published. She's one of the biggest published writers in the world. And there's a reason for that. She's extremely good at what she does. So she was able to take human nature, a really good plot, which other writers wish they had, really good understanding of human nature, and really good definition of the characters, like other stories that we could mention, not just Miss Marple, that, you read it and you go, oh, I didn't see that coming. And
that's what she was so good at. You didn't see it coming, right? If you was reading the books or watching the TV episode, you didn't see it coming right to the last minute.
Right. Yeah. And it's very, that's very hard to do nowadays. She had the formula before most people did, with the exception of a few other writers. And that's the other reason probably why they're made into TV, movies and TV, is because it's very well done. And so many other shows, with only a few exceptions, you see it coming. So it's not surprising. It's not really interesting. It's just plot driven, and that's it. There's no substance, really. It's all style. And the thing is, she had style, substance, and understanding. So you actually learn. So it was good that you can learn from fiction. It's not just checking your mind out and seeing explosions or whatever else. You actually learn something as well.
Well, yeah, you say with these stories, there's no fast cars, there's no, as you say, explosions. It's a quaint little village. It's a little English village. There's been a murder at the hall. Did the butler do it, sort of thing? It's that quintessential Britishness of it, I suppose. But also, as you say, the characters are so well put together, so well acted. I mean, we've got to have to say for the police inspector in this one, Pocketful of Rye, played by great actor Tom Wilkinson.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't seen this for a while. I've got the box set, but I hadn't seen it for a while, and I forgot he was in it, to be honest. Until it's, oh bloody hell, yes, Tom Wilkinson, and his assistant sergeant John Glover, who's a well-known voice actor in this country, who's done a lot, as Susan will know, done a lot for Big Finish Audio. He appears in those a lot just lately. The cast is just amazing. I mean, you had Timothy West, who was the victim at the beginning. Brilliant actor. This is why these work so well, because the cast, damn good actors, to tell a damn good story. And Agatha Christie wrote damn good stories, and you can't better that. As I say, people have tried. No, you can't do it. It's not happening in this modern day and age. They've remade the Marple ones with different actresses in the 2000s, but they're just no. They've set them in the 50s and what, but they've sort of modernised them, and for me it doesn't work. There's just something I can't put my finger on it. It's just something not there. But you go back to these episodes, what were made 30 odd years ago, they still stand the test of time. Classic TV, in my opinion. I don't know if you think the same or. Yeah, anything else you want to say?
Well, I mean, yeah, we could probably go back into the actual story, but I mean, then the police inspector or the interviewing people, very realistic, very pragmatic. He didn't listen to Miss Marple, and it even says in the show, he even said, oh, I didn't listen to you the last time, and I regretted it. And it's so funny when they're chasing Peter Davidson down and his girlfriend or fiance or whatever. And then I know I'm giving away the plot here, but he confesses to the girlfriend and pushes her, yells at her to get out of the car. She's afraid, she's crying, she's scared. And he immediately gets his comeuppance and gets into a car accident and dies. And the only thing gruesome is they show the face with the blood and the the mark,
Yeah,
the
but
yeah,
you see a lot worse these days than that.
yeah,
So
that's true. But I mean, for back then, that was actually a little bit shocking. But
yeah,
it's so funny because I remember trying to show this to non-fans, and they actually liked it. Some of them criticized that ending, but I said, well, but that's they decided to film it that way, or that's pretty much how it was in the book. And even if you're not a fan of British TV shows, most people know who Agatha Christie still is.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
mean, you can be a fan or not be a fan, but you still know what it is. And there was other shows that I watched, like Morse or Sherlock Holmes, the '80s version, before they did all this retooling and put it in the modern age. And Shoestring, which was in the modern age for the 1980s. So you see these really good shows that have a dose of pragmatism, they have a dose of knowing human nature, they have a dose of the comeuppance, they have a dose of, telling usually, 90% of the story in mostly a logical way. And it's just a lot better than most of what I've seen in movies and modern TV shows today. And I think that's part of the charm is that, uh, you know, certain countries and Britain, they know how to do mysteries, they know how to do dramas, they know how to do comedies. And it's the setup, it's the acting, it follows a logical line. Your mind can follow it. You see definite drawn personalities, and that's what makes it good, and it stands the test of time. It doesn't have to be super modern with the cell phones and the laptops and because you don't need it. You don't need it. You have a really good story, and that's really what you want. That's what you want in a book and a TV show and a movie is a really good, yes you have the plot, but you have character development, you have really good dialogue, you have really good interplay between I hope the new version of Murder on the Orient Express is good and not just a rehash, because it seems from the trailer that it might be a rehash. And I can watch either the David Suchet version, like you said, that was
Yeah.
Perot, and David Suchet was on a recent Doctor Who episode, or I can watch the old cinematic version with Sean Connery and all the other famous, and
Oh yeah,
Albert
Albert Finney.
Finney
Yeah, Albert
as
Finney. Yeah.
Perot. And I mean, again, it's I don't know if Lee agrees with me, but that's part of the reason why we're reviewing this is because it's not only classic because it's old, but it's classic because it's well done.
That's what that's what classic is. It's well done, a well done classic. Well, we'll have to start doing a cast of garbage, and we must have plenty of viewing for that. But there's hell of a lot out there of classic stuff, and I'm happy to review all classic stuff as we go along, week upon week. Do you want anything to say there, Susan? Or
Yeah, it was delightful. You know, it was such a quaint village and such a dastardly crime. It was amazing. It was
Miss,
contrast was great.
Miss Marple always seems to solve crimes while having a cup of tea and a scone. That's how quintessentially she just sits there having a cup of tea and solves the crime. But it's wonderfully, I chose Pocketful of Rye because it was only a 2-part, because the rest of them are 3 parts. Yeah. But also as well, we thought I'll pick this one because we know Peter Davison's in it, Annette Badland, and there's some pretty damn good actors in this. But so if anything else you want to say, or should we start to wrap this one up?
We can wrap it up.
Okay. Well, so I'm glad you like the episode. And, long live Joan Hickson. God rest her soul. But on that note, we will wrap this one up. So, what would you, out of 10, how many would you give it?
I'll give it an 8 out of 10. It was delightful. Peter Davison, awesome baddie, and Alex.
I'll give it I have to give it a 9. I don't enjoy all Miss Marple stories, but I'll have to give it a 9. And this TV series adaptation, what was it? Was it 4 years or 6 years that they did this? There was from
1984 to 1992.
Oh wow! So it was what? It was 8 years. Okay.
8 years. Yeah, 8 years.
Yeah. So out of her version and the Perot version, and even the old version of Partners in Crime, I didn't like the new version. I'd say that the older versions, this version Perot, and the older Partners in Crime, I'd have to say the execution for most of the series, all 3 of them, I'd give it a 95. I didn't like every single episode, but that's nobody likes 100% constantly.
Oh no.
I'd have to say that the versions are very good. I think Agatha Christie probably would have been very proud. I don't know if she'd be 100% proud.
Yeah.
But
she said.
No.
Yeah, I was to say, Joan Hickson got the seal of approval from Agatha Christie when she should still have, so you can't go wrong there, can you?
Well, did David Suchet, that played Perot, get the version?
Sure. No, because he only started playing him from 1988 or something like that.
Oh, so
and Agatha Christie died in about 1976, I think.
Was it 79? That was 79. She disappeared.
I think it was upset.
Yeah. Remember how they didn't know who she was? Yeah.
Oh, that was back in the 1930s.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I remember the movie then. I don't know.
The movie Agatha. Agatha was that movie was 87. And for me, I'm going to give it an 8.5. I enjoyed rewatching this. It's a very good classic story. Agatha Christie always does it for me. Miss Marple, yeah, okay, I'm more of a Poirot fan, but Miss Marple's not too bad either. So, and on that note, we'll sign off here. I'd like to thank Alex and Susan.
Thank you.
We've had a good time here. People out there, comment below. Give us your memories of this episode, or what you liked about the episode, or you didn't like. Give us a like, dislike. follow. We're on Tumblr. We're on we've got a public Facebook group. Find us there, and we're on Twitter as well. So you can find us all over the place. You can contact any of us as well if you need be. We're ragging about on Facebook most of the time, so they can't get rid of us that easily. So until next time, we'll be seeing you.
Pocketful of Rye, 4 and 20 blackbirds baked in a pie.